Well, it's a lovely morning, so I thought I'd get a little bit busy and do a bit of digging. It's time to remove the pupa of the death's-head hawk moths out of this substrate and into an emerging cage. This is always a good bit. Well, there are other methods people use in order for their hawk moths to pupate. I prefer the natural method, although I have used the method of just putting the larva when it's ready to pupate in a small container lined with tissue paper, and then putting that container into a dark cupboard. The larva walks around a lot and then eventually settles down, and there's usually no sort of malforming of the pupa at all. But I still prefer the traditional method. Plus, you also get the fun of digging them out, and I like, and many other people that use this method like, to dig the pupa out once they've pupated and then put them into an emerging cage. There's nearly a foot of substrate in here, and I don't want the moths to have to struggle to get out. Although the holes that the larva made are visible in a number of cases, but it's fun going digging for death's heads. The pupa is remarkable in size, especially, but all pupa are fascinating to think what's happening inside that pupal case. Anyway, I'm digging with my hands, carefully removing the substrate out of the bucket into the washing up bowl. The washing up's got to wait for 10 minutes. Right then, so here we go. Just a case of removing this top layer gradually, and by using your hands and your fingers, you'll feel those pupa. And they'll be near or at the very bottom. And there is some moisture in this. And as you get lower down, you can just tip the bucket over. But I don't like to do that, and I think I've just hit one cell. So we'll go a little bit careful here. Yeah, there's a cell. Here's one. Let's just show you this one. And here's our first glimpse at this very large chrysalis. That's the back and the top of the thorax. And there's the underneath of the abdomen and the wings and the head. Head end is to the right. And the proboscis area is visible there between the wings. Always amazes me just how large these pupa are. And we have some more to find in here yet. Of course, the weight of the... here's another cell. And this is an older pupa. Oh, the looks of that, because it's darker. By gently, there's another one here. Right at the base of the bucket. Number 3. Maybe slightly smaller. Oh, here's another one. I didn't feel this one. It's the lining of the cell. Amazing. There doesn't appear to be any silk used to line the pupal chamber. It's just compressed, and there's another one just there where the hole is. And another. And here's our 6th and last death's head hawk-moth pupa. Well, time for a bit of size comparison now. Our first pupa, or chrysalis, is that chap there. That's the chrysalis of blossom undoing. You may well have seen the video from a few weeks ago where I went looking for the caterpillars of blossom undoing on the former Calverton colliery site. Found a number of caterpillars, brought them back, reared them on. They were very easy to rear, and that's the chrysalis. Chrysalis number 2 is that one. That's the chrysalis of a lime hawk moth. Many of you will have seen that and be quite familiar with the size of lime hawk moth chrysalis. Being a UK hawk moth, any of them, even the smaller species, the chrysalis is particularly large compared to most other UK moths. And that is the chrysalis of the death's head hawk moth. But you can see the size difference from blossom undoing chrysalis here through the lime hawk moth here to this monster, the death's head hawk moth. What a thing, as I so often say. And I say that in this case because it is a thing indeed. It's a fabulous thing. I could just look and hold chrysalises all day long, especially death's heads. There's something beautiful about them, almost mahogany-like, shiny and smooth. Marvellous. Well, there we are. Of course, this isn't the end of the story yet. There's one most important aspect still to appear, still to show itself. But the foundations for that aspect are forming before our very eyes. Metamorphosis is a truly staggering thing. It really is to think that what was the caterpillar has now been broken down and reformed, rebuilt. And that's all allowed by this capsule, so to speak, called the chrysalis or the pupa. It really is the most amazing process, and it hurts my head to think about it when I do, but I can't help but think about it because it really is an amazing process. We're still at the very earliest a week away from any emergence. There's no sign of them darkening up, because they do darken up, and the adult, when about to emerge, can be clearly seen inside. Well, those pupae that we've dug up now need to go into an emerging cage, and this emerging cage for the death's-head hawk-moths will be kept indoors. At the moment, with the heat that we have here in the UK, it will be quite apt for them to be left outside, but this is the emerging cage. It's just a simple cage, little more than a foot in length and about 10 inches wide, and with the flip top lid too. Very simple, just wooden frame, and sides just normal dress netting. At the bottom is a metal tray in this, an old biscuit tin lid, and that I will put a layer of the substrate that the pupa have been in, and I will keep that sprayed, and the chrysalis themselves will be laid on top, and the moths can then emerge quite easily. And then they've got plenty of room to climb up the sides of the cage to expand their wings. Coming up to the most exciting part, when you've got to have them in an emerging cage. It's what you've been building up to over the last few weeks. Well, there we are. We're all set for 6 death's-head hawk-moths to emerge from these enormous chrysalis. I really could sit and just hold this all day long and just look at it. It's the colour. I could do the same with conkers, horse chestnut seed. It's rather akin to a conker in texture and colour to me, but and they weigh a fair amount. All safely in that emerging cage now, where the rest of their development will take place. The emerging cage will be kept indoors, and hopefully by next week we may have a moth. If not, it will be a fortnight's time when we'll definitely have footage of the final item, the magnificent death's-head hawk-moth. They're always a joy to rear, and if you can get hold of some livestock, and they are readily available several times a year, and you want to rear something that's easy, to be honest, then I would recommend that you have a go at death's-head hawk-moth. I can't wait for the next bit.